Jeopardy contestant Andrew Miller praised the helpful accommodations the show provided to help with his visual impairment and array behind-the-scenes reveal of the game despite calling his jury to but the best experience ever. The autoclaims adjuster from Connecticut lost to returning champ Mark Fitzpatrick. Mark, who is also from Connecticut, and Andrew went up against Jen Montoya, an attorney from Albany, New Mexico, on Tuesday's game. Before he was able to watch the episode, Andrew took to an online fan forum and commented about his experience. Andrew here haven't watched yet, but just want to say this was the best experience of my life. The crew on set was amazing. I'm visually impaired, and they made helpful accommodations to the gameplay and would chill about me knocking stuff of my cane all day, he wrote. He also took his loss with grace, adding, "These were definitely not my categories, which made it easy to cope with the owl knowing my opponents have played so well on such a challenging board. GG boys." Andrew began with a strong lead as he added $11,000 to his score. After correctly guessing the game's first ear double, however, Mark secured the lead heading into the first break with $5,400, while Andrew was behind with $2,000 and Gino had $1,000. Mark found the second daily double, which added $3,000 to his score of $10,800. Despite Gino's lead most of the game, Mark got ahead when he also found the third daily double, which gave him another $3,000 heading into final Jeopardy. Mark's secured $21,200, while Gino secured $177,400, and Andrew had $4,600 for his total. The last category was Will Flags, which host Ken Jennings raid the 12 stars on its flag symbolize perfection, not geographic or political units. What is the European Union? Was the correct response. However, in another triple stumper, all three players go wrong. Unfortunately for Gino, he chose to bet at all, leaving him with just $0 by the end of the game. Mark bet $3,611, dropping his score to $7,595, while runner-up Andrew's final total to $4,183. After yesterday's final Jeopardy resulted in a triple stumper, fans expressed their thoughts on today's low-scoring game. Even if Mark didn't win as much today as his first two games, I'm sure he was happy to have won a third game at all. Gino's comeback in DJ was quite impressive, but Mark getting both deeds kept him in the lead, so Gino had to deal with the war of wagering from second place. I like to think Gino felt very confident in the FJ category, and that's why he wagered his entire school. But sadly, it didn't work out for him. He's likely to be in second chance with such a high losing correct, but the Allen's second-place wager never survives a triple stumper. SJ, however, a fellow viewer disagreed with the notion that Gino should get a spot on the second chance tournament. Yeah, I'm much sure that I agree that someone that blew the wager should get a second chance if he'd better to get $1 more than the leader. He would have won. Losing on bad wagering should not get you a second chance, they wrote, while one more defended Jew. Jeopardy is a game about having knowledgeable contestants. First game up. Play a second. Gino had a 17,400 correct in his Oakland game. Of course, he should be considered. What are we doing here? Andrew Miller stood proudly on the iconic Jeopardy stage, buzzing with anticipation, though many contestants had graced this platform before. Miller was different. He was visually impaired, and his presence on the show marked a significant milestone in the program's ongoing efforts to make the game more accessible to all. For Miller, just being here was a triumph, but it was also a moment of deep reflection on the challenges he faced and the helpful accommodations the show had made to ensure he could play at the same competitive level as anyone else. In an exclusive post-show interview, Andrew Miller shared how G made specific and full changes to accommodate his needs. These changes weren't just a boon for him, they had the potential to impact future visually impaired contestants, as well navigating the Jeopardy stage. Walking onto the set, the energy in the room was electric. Andrew explained I could feel the weight of the years of history, the legacy of champions who had stood where I was standing, but as a visually impaired contestant navigating the large stage could have been overwhelming. However, Andrew revealed how Jurley adapted the set for him. One of the first things they did was add textured markers on the floor. I had worked with the crew beforehand to memorize where everything was, but having those tactile indicators was a game-changer. I could confidently move between the contestant podiums without feeling disoriented. The setup, typically designed for visually able contestants, was transformed. Buzzing in to answer is one of the most intense and crucial aspects of Jeopardy for Andrew. The presented a particular challenge. Timing is everything when it comes to buzzing in. As a visually impaired contestant, I couldn't rely on watching buzz in to help level the playing field. The Jeopardy team introduced an audio cue specifically for Andrew. Instead of watching for the lights, I had a slight sound that told me when it was time to buzz in. It was incredibly subtle, nothing the other contestants could hear, but it gave me the edge I needed to compete fairly. Andrew was quick to point out, but the sound wasn't a foolproof solution. You still have to be fast. You're competing against the reflexes of two other sharp minds. And even with the audio help, you can still miss out if you're not quick enough. Despite the added audio, Andrew had his fair share of competitive struggles. As the game wore on, he found himself in a fierce battle with fellow contestant Mark Fitzpatrick, who was lightning fast on the buzzer. Mark's speed on the buzzer was impressive. Even with my cue, it sometimes felt like he was just a fraction of a second faster reading the clues. Another challenge Andrew faced was accessing the clues in real time. Typically, contestants rely on reading the questions displayed on the big board. But for Andrew, this wasn't an option. To address this, the producers developed a system where clues were orderly fed into Andrew's earpiece simultaneously as they appeared on the screen. The voice in my ear was a lifesaver. Andrew shared it wasn't just a generic reading, it was a well-paced narration that kept in sync with the game. I could focus entirely on formula my response without feeling like I was falling behind. The challenge came, however, when there were visual clues, such as pictures or video clips. Those were tricky, Andrew admitted, but they handled it really well. For image-based questions, the narrator would give me a detailed description of the image in real time, so I wasn't missing any critical details. Despite these accommodations, Andrew acknowledged that there were moments when the pace of the game felt overwhelming. It's still jippy. He laughed. There's no slowing down, and you have to keep up with that fast-paced environment. The Daily Double and Final Jat. One of the high-stakes moments in any Jeopardy episode is the Daily Double. Andrew's heart raced when he landed on it. When you hit a Daily Double, it's a whole different pressure, he explained. The audio cues and descriptions were once again deployed during this crucial moment. However, Mill made a bold wager, only to be bested by a complex geography question. I love trivia, but geography has always been my weak point, he confessed. I think my nerves got the best of me as the game progressed into Final Jeopardy. Andrew was still within striking distance of Mark Fitzpatrick, the eventual winner. The tension was palpable. Final Jeopardy was nerve-wracking. You don't know what the category will be, and you have to make a decision based on instinct and strategy. The category was world history. Andrew wagered carefully, feeling reasonably confident, but when the question was revealed, he knew it was going to be a tough one. I said guessed myself. Andrew said his answer was incorrect, while Mark nailed it, securing his victory. Reflecting on the experience, though Andrew Miller didn't win, he walked off the Jeopardy stage with his head held high. It wasn't just about winning or losing for me, it was about showing that people with visual impairments can compete in any arena. The show made full changes that didn't just accommodate me, but made me feel like a true competitor. Andrew hopes that his appearance will pave the way for other visually impaired contestants I want people to know that it's possible. You can be a part of something like G. Even if you have limitations, I'm proud of the fact that the show took my needs seriously and worked to find solutions that kept the integrity of the game intact. As for what's next for Andrew, he's not ruling out another shot of trivia. I've got a few more quiz shows in mind, he joked. But Jip Early will always be special. Win or lose, just being on that stage was the highlight of a lifetime. And as for Mark Fitzpatrick, the new champion, Andrew had nothing but praise. Mark was incredible. He played a fantastic game, and he deserved the win. I'll be cheering him on in his future matches. Andrew's journey on Jeopardy was more than just a game. It was a moment of breaking barriers, both for himself and for others who face similar challenges.